I want you to imagine Helen sitting in her kitchen at Costa Rica, my little town here, at 4 in the afternoon. That's the hour she couldn't get through in Ohio. That's the hour that her husband used to walk in the door every day. He'd been dead for 18 months when she moved here, and every day at 4, no matter how much she'd done that morning, she'd sit at the kitchen table and cry. She's not crying anymore, and what she figured out has nothing to do with Costa Rica. In the next few minutes, I want to share 3 things Helen learned in her second year of widowhood. Things most retirees in her situation never get told. If you're navigating this yourself, or you love someone who is, stay with me. The first time I met Helen, she told me she had lost 2 people when her husband died. Him and herself. She just didn't realize the second part until she retired. So she was 63 when he had a heart attack in the kitchen. She was making breakfast. He was 59. They'd been married for 41 years. And she'd planned her retirement around him. Their retirement, the trips, the house they were going to fix up, all of it. So she retired 11 months later because she couldn't concentrate at work, and that's when the second loss hit her. Nobody tells you this, but when you retire after losing a spouse, you don't grieve one identity, you grieve 2. The person you were with them and the person you were at work. Those 2 identities were holding each other up and nobody noticed until both were gone. When your husband dies, you still go back to the office on Monday. There's still a version of you the world recognizes. When you retire, that version goes too. And now you're in a house where the person who knew you as you is gone. You're living a life where the role the world gave you is also gone. So you're not rebuilding one identity. You're building a whole new person from parts you didn't know you had. Helen told me it took her a long time to stop trying to get back to who she was. Everyone told her to give it time. And then one morning she realized there was no back to go to. That woman died with him, and she also retired. I'm Monique Rhodes. Every week I make a video about the emotional side of retirement, the part nobody prepares you for. If you want more of this, please subscribe. Helen didn't figure the next thing out by making a plan. She figured it out by paying attention to 1 hour, 4 in the afternoon. That was the hour her husband used to walk in the door, the hour they'd start dinner together. For 41 years, 4 p.m. meant something. After he died, it became the hardest hour of her day. Not the morning, not the evening, 4. And when she retired and was home for it, 4 got worse. One afternoon, a friend rang her at 4 o'clock and they talked for 20 minutes about nothing much. And when Helen hung up, she realized she hadn't cried. She told me she thought she had to fix her whole life. She didn't. I explained to her that she just had to fix 4 p.m. Grief doesn't spread evenly across the day. It pulls in specific hours. The hour they used to call, the hour you used to eat together, the hour you'd watch the news side by side. So retirement makes it worse because the workday used to cover those hours. Now it doesn't. The rebuild doesn't start with a big plan. It starts with 1 hour, the one that hurts the most. And one small, repeatable thing you put in it that's only yours. Something physical, something that pulls you into the present. For Helen, 4 p.m. became a walk down the road to a neighbour's for coffee every day, 20 minutes. And after 2 months, 4 p.m. stopped being the hour she dreaded. It became the hour she looked forward to. So she didn't fix her grief, she fixed 1 hour of it, and the rest of the day softened around that. If you know exactly which hour I'm talking about, the one where the absence is loudest, that's where you start. Not the whole day, not the whole life, 1 hour. The second thing Helen figured out goes against most of what widows get told. She didn't need a new community. She needed one person who expected her. So everyone had told her to join things, grief groups, book clubs, church socials, take a class, meet new people, fill the calendar. She tried all of it when she was in Ohio. None of it worked. And when she moved here, she met one woman, a really lovely lady who lives 2 streets over from her. She's also widowed, she's in her 60s, she's also starting over. And every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, they walk to the market together, rain or shine. Now, if Helen doesn't show up, her friend texts her. That's the whole thing. One person who notices if she's not there. Community in retirement isn't about how many people are in your life. It's about how many would notice if you disappeared. For most widowed retirees, the number is smaller than it feels. Your kids are busy, your old friends have their own routines. Nobody's tracking your daily existence anymore. So you don't fix that by joining 10 things. You fix it by finding one person whose day includes you. And they don't have to be a close friend yet. So Helen and her new friend weren't close when they started walking. They were just 2 women who agreed to meet on Tuesdays. And the closeness built after, because closeness follows consistency, not the other way around. So don't try to build a life, try to build a Tuesday. Now, a lot of you who are watching this might be sitting here thinking, well, Helen figured it out because she moved to Costa Rica. She didn't. And I want to be honest with you about this because I love where I live. But beautiful Costa Rica didn't heal her. What happened is that she didn't move because she wanted a new country. She moved because she needed to be somewhere no one knew her as his wife. So she wasn't running from him. She'd made her peace with that. What she was running from was a whole community of people who every time they saw her still saw a widow. Every conversation in Ohio started the same way, and she knew exactly what people meant by it. She said she couldn't become someone new in a place where everyone already knew who she used to be. So she came here. And here, people just met Helen. Not the wife who'd lost her husband, just Helen. So she got to introduce herself as the person she was becoming. That's the actual lesson. You don't have to leave the country, you don't have to move at all, but you do have to find one corner of your life where you're not defined by the loss. Maybe it's a class in a town you don't usually go to. Maybe it's a walking group in a different neighborhood. Maybe it's a church across the city where no one knew him. Or maybe an online community where nobody knows your history yet. Somewhere, the people around you meet who you're becoming, not who you are. Helen isn't the same woman she was before her husband died. She never will be, and that used to break her heart, but it doesn't anymore. And she told me recently she doesn't miss the woman she was, she misses him. And those are 2 different things now. Now that took her 2 years, and it came from claiming 1 hour, building one Tuesday, and finding one place where she got to be new. Small things, done with intention. So if you're in this, or someone you love is, please share this video with them. Widows in retirement often watch these alone, and the fastest way to shift what they're feeling is to know someone thought of them enough to send it. And if you want to know where you are in your own retirement transition, I've built 2 quizzes, one for people already retired, one for people getting close. So only take a few minutes, you get a personalized picture of where you're at and what to focus on next. The links are in the description. I'll see you next week.